Happy New Year, bonne année. Wait, is there a statute of limitations on wishing people Happy New Year? Nope, I'm still good. When I never feel bad, come on, yeah. So I haven't posted content in a while. Yeah, a month. That's when I last spoke to you guys, and I spoke to you about what I was going to do during my holiday break. Well, the holiday break came and went. I had fantastic ideas, and they never came to fruition. And I wanted to make a concerted effort this week in creating some content because this week is particularly near and dear to my heart. On Thursday, it's Bell Let's Talk Day, and mental health, mental illness is something that is particularly important to me. I'm planning on making a video on my past dealing with mental health problems. And today's video is not about that, though. It is to go over basically a summary of what has happened over the past couple of weeks. Number one, online teaching. So I did not have a lot of problems with teaching online. I'm fairly comfortable. I manage a variety of little platforms and little apps that, you know, make my teaching a bit more engaging. But whether you use 1, 2, 3, or 5 different apps, it doesn't change the fact that we started on January 4th. Yes, we were back online on January 4th. That is, my friends, brutal. So I started slowly. I even gave the heads up to my students. I told them, don't worry, this is just gonna be a touching base. How are y'all? And this is what's gonna be doing. This is what we're gonna do for the rest of the week. But one thing I did not foresee, and this is me having experience as a gamer and a part-time YouTuber. I was drained. I was exhausted. I want you to imagine this me and this energy and me and my content online. But I want you to think about it in a classroom, in front of a camera, entertaining and teaching, 28 some odd students. Did I dislike it? I did not hate it. I didn't dislike it, but it surprised me how exhausting it is. I was tired. Zooming for the length of time for the entire day, some days starting as early as 7:45. It hits ya. At the end of the day, you are done. You don't want to be in front of a computer. You don't want to talk. You're done. So that surprised me. I was a bit shocked. Not gonna lie. That I was a bit shocked. Number 2, going back to school. So I'm going to be mindful about how I voice my opinions, because they are opinions. Okay, I'm not a health specialist. The government imposed several restrictions that are still in effect and will be in effect until February 8th. Some of them involve a curfew, the infamous curfew. I'm a homebody. I don't go out much. Me staying at home after 8 p.m. But I know that for some people, it is a problem. I get it. There are also further restrictions on gatherings. So there were more restrictions. And then they said, okay, we're going to do online learning until January 15th. I think it was the 15th. And all businesses that are not deemed essential services will close, and will continue the non-gathering portion of the restrictions. But there are classrooms in schools where there are 30 plus people, okay, if you include the teacher. Yes, in secondary 3, 4, and 5, it's limited to maybe 15 people in the classroom. But there's something very nonsensical, especially with what happened over the weekend, where there were synagogues that had fines levied on their worshipers because they gathered, and there were like over 200 people, but they were split in different rooms in the synagogue, 10 people per room. And they got ticketed, and there's this big confusion between the city of Montreal and the Hasidic community, because they were told, you can gather as long as each room has its own entrance, exit to the outdoors, and you're not congregating more than 10 people in that room. And then Public Health said, no, you can't do that, if I understand correctly. I mean, comments, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So let me get this straight. As a place of worship, you cannot have more than 10 people at a time, because each room has to have a dedicated access to the outdoors. But schools, which have multiple rooms, can have up to 30 people in each classroom. Yeah, I know. You're going to say, Madame la Prof, schools are essential. They are important to students' learning and well-being and development. I get it. You cannot argue with me on that. Like, I agree. However, can you be coherent in the application of your rules? If you are going to restrict those types of gatherings with that line of thought that each room has to have its own access, why are you allowing schools to have so many? There are some schools that have like up to like 1,000 students in the building at a time, more or less, give or take a few hundred. But still, that's a lot of bodies in one confined space. So that's opinion number one. Can we be coherent, please, in the rationale? My second opinion has to do with mental health. So yeah, there are students, there are adults who have trouble dealing with learning at home or teaching or working at home. They need that contact, and that is important. I recognize that. That is important. But we tend to forget also the other group of people who are dealing with the anxiety of being at school with the restrictions that exist. But there are some kids out there who are severely affected by those restrictions, by the fear of catching COVID at school or on the bus. And we aren't doing a whole lot. We are not doing a whole lot to deal with that. For some students, for some children, for some parents, for administrators, for teachers, for every member of the school community involved in this, it is a source of stress. I feel that the government is not doing enough to recognize that, and is just hell-bent on sending students to school. And don't get me started on the issues and problems that we have right now in regards to our collective agreement negotiations. Like, don't get me started on that. That's another ball of yarn completely. But the government seems to be hell-bent on sending students to school because they're thinking, and at least that's my perception, they're thinking that being at school is the only way we can learn. That education and learning equals being at school in a building. As long as we have that mindset, anxiety is still going to exist, and we are never going to progress to true 21st century learning, teaching, education. There has to be a change in perception. And that change in perception will also, I feel, will alleviate a lot of anxiety that some students have in regards to going to school. And not just during the pandemic, but in general. There are students out there who cannot deal with going to school. Just like for some, going to school is their safe space. For others, going to school is a true, genuine problem. And we have to find a solution to that, and fast. So that's my last 3-4 weeks in a nutshell. There's some other fun little tidbits, like l'Association canadienne des professeurs en immersion finally released their video about me, a day in the life of an immersion teacher. Yeah, links in the part that's underneath me, like right here. Like right here underneath me. That's where you're gonna find the link. Go and check it out. So on that lovely note, folks, have yourselves a lovely day.